CBS Sports, your 2018 home of March Madness. The Masters, the PGA Championship, PGA Tour, SEC football, the NFL, and February 3rd, Super Bowl 53.
Week 11 in the NFL. Well, there's Alex Smith. He has led the Washington Redskins to a 6-3 record. His specialty, lack of turnovers, only 3 interceptions so far this season.
That's Andy Dalton, the 5-4 Cincinnati Bengals looking to sweep the Ravens. Going to have to do it without A.J. Green, leaning on Joe Mixon and Tyler Boyd.
There's Andrew Luck and Marcus Mariota. Luck second in NFL with 26 TD passes. Titans big win over the Patriots last week. Both guys paying as strong as Mariota's mustache.
All right, no Le'Veon Bell, but how about James Conner filling in admirably, I would say. Steelers won 5 in a row. Jags beat the Steelers twice last season. Revenge is the ultimate motivation for the Steelers today.
Stand by to move right. Ready, one? Take one. Stand by to bring it back. Take 4.
Well, record on 43.
3, 2, 1.
And hello, everyone. I'm James Brown. Welcome to the NFL Today presented by Jeep. Folks, we have several intriguing matchups involving playoff hopefuls, so let's get right to the Week 11 headlines here on CBS. Division leaders face off today in the nation's capital as Deshaun Watson and the Texans go for their 7th consecutive win as they take on Alex Smith and Washington. Could today signal the end of an era in Baltimore? With Joe Flacco nursing a hip injury and some uneven outings the last few weeks, Lamar Jackson takes over the Ravens offense. He looks to keep them in playoff conversation talks. All right, with the Le'Veon Bell distraction now in the rearview mirror, the Steelers are ready to roll with James Conner and their surplus of offensive talent.
It's a good time. Roethlisberger to the end zone.
A rocket thrown by Ben Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger. Brilliant.
Antonio Brown pulls it in.
Antonio Brown is gone. Absolutely terrific. Oh, Juju Smith-Schuster racing to the end zone. Touchdown, Juju Smith.
What a play by Juju.
Conner gets the call.
Breaking free.
Running for the end zone all the way. Touchdown, Steelers.
It's my house.
So 2 teams going in opposite directions. The Steelers have won 5 straight. That's since their 1-2-1 start. And here inside Studio 43, I'm joined at the desk by my colleagues, and I think Bill Cowher would allow me to say they may be men of steel, starting with Phil Simms, Coach Bill Cowher, Nate Burleson, and Boomer Esiason. The Steelers are indeed on a roll.
Yes, they are. They are hot. They are on fire. No, I'm not talking about Boomer Esiason. I'm talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, and I'm saying this to all you guys. When a good team, they get rolling, and, you know, physically, mentally, everything's going on. You can't wait to go to practice. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. They are just doing everything right. And it helps, of course, when you have the best offensive line, I think, in football. It helps when you have 2 #1 wide receivers. You have a top 5 quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger. But most of all, I got to give a lot of credit to Mike Tomlin, because he's galvanized the team and kept the Le'Veon Bell situation from distracting them, and he's helped that defense, which is playing better, and I love where they're at right now.
And you know what, Joe, Phil, you're right. To talk about the defense, and it helps when you don't give up the big plays we saw earlier in the season. When you look at these last 5 games, this defense, they have given up less than 19 points a game, less than 300 yards a game, 18 sacks in that period of time. You see T.J. Watt, he's got 8 sacks on a day. And you look at this team, they blitz more than anybody else in the National Football League. And when you think about them, one of the biggest offseason acquisitions, I think, with Ryan Shazier went down. Who's going to fill that void? John Bostic has stepped in. He's making all the calls on defense, leads his team in tackles, kind of under the radar, kind of an MVP for that defense.
Yeah, and with that Le'Veon Bell situation, door finally closed. James Conner didn't just open the door up. He kicked it down. I mean, 2nd in NFL scrimmage yards. And if you look at the production, next man up style, you got 2017 numbers through 15 games. There's Le'Veon numbers on the left, right? What stands out to me, the 11 total TDs right there. You know what else the number 11 is important for? they're averaging 11 more points with James Conner in the offense. Wow. It's the totality of what they bring to the table. It's not just Antonio Brown, Juju. It's also Jesse James, Vance McDonald. Right. That means this young running back, he's not just better for this team. I'll start the conversation. He could be a better running back for this team than Le'Veon Bell was.
Well, first let me say thanks for the compliment this morning. I appreciate that. There is another team playing here. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of people thought that they were going to be the AFC representative for Super Bowl 53 this year. It has been nothing but disappointments, and it starts on offense first and foremost with the turnovers. Look at these scary numbers. On the defense, they had 35 sacks this time last year, only 19. They have a fractured locker room, and the reason they have a fractured locker room is because, unfortunately, Blake Bortles has not turned into Ben Roethlisberger. There's a lack of belief down there in Jacksonville in their quarterback from the defensive side and, of course, from, I think, the organizational side, because since week 2, they have lost 6 of their last 7 games. That's when they beat the Patriots, and they had that big outcoming for Blake Bortles, and they now have lost 5 in a row.
Wow. So we get another substantive voice to weigh in on this, and for more on this AFC clash, we go out now live to Jacksonville and welcome in Mr. Tony Romo. Of course, he'll be calling the game. Hey, Tony, so what's been most impressive to you about the Steelers' win streak?
Well, Coach just talked about the big plays. They've eliminated those in this winning streak. And then, offensively, it's hard to defend this team. It used to be that Antonio Brown got so many touches, so many targets that you were like, we got to take him away. Now, you tell me who you really like your matchup on if you're on the defensive side of the ball. You got Juju Smith-Schuster, you got Brown. Obviously, Connor's playing fantastic. They're almost more efficient, and the O-line is great. Ben's playing the best football maybe of his career in the last 5 games. This is not a team you want to see right now, especially with the way they're putting, calling them Blitzburg here. They're getting after the quarterback. This is a tough team to deal with.
So to Boomer's question here, on the other side of the field, you got the Jags. Where do you see the issue is with them and their struggles?
Well, their formula that they won football games last year is just not the same. They want to run the football. They want to play action, get in third and manageable situations. And this year, tackles have been out. They're on their 4th left tackle. Center's out now. Their tight ends have been in and out. They can't use the same formula. They're having to spread people out. I saw them have 5 receivers on the field, on a play. And I'm like, that's not the Jaguars. They wanted to play close to the vest and play great defense. This year, they're having to do a lot more things. The quarterback's had to have a lot more pressure on his back to win these football games, and they're turning the ball over. And that's been really the reason why they haven't been able to produce the same results.
All right. Hey, Tony, thanks for the thumbnail. And, of course, we're looking forward to your call of the game. All right, folks, and for more notes and news from around the league, we welcome in our NFL Today insider, Jason Lockenfor, with the latest on Le'Veon Bell's future. Jason.
Well, JB, the Steelers made a concerted effort to recruit Bell back to the team before his deadline to sign a contract last week. They outlined a meaningful role for him, sources said, but the running back wasn't interested. Bell was informed he'll receive the transition tag in 2019. Numerous GMs and cap experts I spoke to, they believe Bell's going to have difficulty topping the $15 million a year the Steelers were willing to pay him. This saga now rolls into March. Lamar Jackson will make his first NFL start today, the last of the 5 QBs taken in the first round to do so. The Ravens were already trying to get the rookie on the field more before Joe Flacco's hip injury. Flacco doesn't need a medical procedure, but was prescribed extended rest, I'm told. The Ravens' run game has shined in Jackson's limited snaps under center. The offense will be RPO heavy against the Bengals today, and this quarterback change could become permanent. Elsewhere, Joey Bosa closer than ever to making his season debut for the Chargers. He suffered that preseason foot injury. Practice this week, should play in a limited role today. The Chiefs have much-needed defensive help on the way, too. Safety Eric Berry, he'll return in early December, I'm told. That should boost the struggling secondary. And the Browns made some headlines this morning. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the team's interested in interviewing former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice for its head coaching job. We reached out to the Browns, still awaiting comment. We'll get that to you guys when we receive it.
All right, Jason, and indeed we are reaching out to some excellent contacts and that to have more on that story as well. All right, folks, sadly, hundreds of thousands of people across the state of California have been devastated by wildfires that continue to burn. Yep. Please help those affected by the wildfires by visiting redcross.org or simply text CA Wildfires to 90999 to give $10 to the American Red Cross in its California wildfires relief effort.
All right, JB, there's J.J. Watt with the win today at Washington. The Texans will be the first team since the 1925 Giants to start 0-3, then win their next 7 games.
Coming up on the NFL Today, it's a battle of first-place teams in the nation's capital as the NFC East leading Redskins
Adrian Peterson all the way
play host to J.J. Watt and the boys from Houston.
Wow, what a play by J.J. Watt.
Hollywood should roll out the red carpet on Monday night because not only will the showdown between the Chiefs and Rams be star-studded, it could be a preview of Super Bowl 53.
We can see Mahomes and Goff again in Atlanta.
Also, the inspiring story of how the football community across the country has come together to bring hope and happiness to the lives of some very special children. That's all straight ahead on the NFL Today on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 53. The NFL Today on CBS Sports is presented by Jeep.
When you're good at
Time now to go inside the pregame HQ delivered by Domino's. And folks, we have 3 more matchups at the top of the hour with big-time playoff implications. And to help us sort through it, our colleague Jim Rome is here joining us along with Boomer and Nate. Jim.
JB, thanks so much. Nate, let me start with you. Lamar Jackson making his first NFL start, and it's in a must-win game. What do you expect to see from him?
Well, that's right. Reports are he will get majority of the snaps under center. Speaking of under center, this Ravens offense, they average 2 more yards per rush when he's under center because you have to respect his legs, his ability to make a play. And that's important because they haven't had a 100-yard rusher all season. Here's the kicker, though. Only 12 pass attempts since he's been in, so they're going to force him to pass the ball.
Well, the good news is that they're playing against the worst defense in football, the Cincinnati Bengals. So bad, in fact, that they fired their defense coordinator, Terrell Austin. Now, Marvin Lewis is going to be calling the defense. You know, one time he was the defensive coordinator of those great 2000 Ravens team. I don't see Ray Lewis running around out there in a Bengal helmet. I will say this, for Lamar Jackson, I can't wait to watch what he brings against a defense that has basically been torched the last 5 weeks.
All right, Boomer, what about the Colts? They've won 3 in a row. They've done a really good job of keeping Andrew Luck clean, but they have to deal with a Titans team that just smashed the Patriots. How do you think they match up?
You see how far away you are from us? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the offensive line of the Colts that is healthy and one of the best offensive lines in football, going against one of the best front sevens in defense in the NFL, the Titans, with Dean Pease, their defensive coordinator. Andrew Luck has not been sacked 4 straight games, 6 straight games, 3 touchdown passes in each of those games. Why? Because he's got a new head coach, Frank Reich, a great play designer and a great play caller, and he is flourishing like he's never flourished before.
Yeah, and so is this Titans defense. They're also flourishing. They're going to put the pressure on Andrew Luck. What did they do last week? You mentioned they smashed the Patriots, held them to just 10 points. They're going to get after the quarterback, try to collapse that pocket. Wesley Woodyard having an unbelievable season right now, leads the team with 50-plus tackles, 12.5 tackles, 1.5 sacks in the game last week. He's going to show up big and try to make that man uncomfortable.
And in terms of our spacing, it's perfect right where you are. In fact, if you don't mind, my man, take a step back.
Okay. Oh, okay.
All right, there you go. And another notable game this afternoon on CBS, pitting a pair of surprising division leaders going at it in what is sure to be a hard-fought showdown.
Going higher, going higher.
The otherworldly J.J. Watt.
What a play by the Redskins defense.
Watson to Hopkins. It's lethal. Look at Peterson go.
What a play.
Massive play for the Texans.
Redskins going to run their record to 6-3 and stay on top of the NFC East.
The Texans have won their 6th straight game.
Hi, guys.
Phil, the Houston Texans start off the season 0-3, but since then, Bill O'Brien and this team has reeled off 6 straight wins. How have they done it?
Bill asked me a question because you know I got the answers. Because they got playmakers. Here's 3 of them. Whitney Merciless, Jadeveon Clowney, and J.J. Watt. All 3 beat their guys and get to Case Keenum right away. Here we go. We're going to try to protect the offensive line. A 2-man route, an 8-man protection. Nobody's open. Todd Davis says, I'm going to the quarterback. Nobody's looking at me. And a mobile quarterback can help out a shaky offensive line. Deshaun Watson makes him whip and picks up some yards running the football. And then on offense, they have the most aggressive wide receiver in the NFL, DeAndre Hopkins. Look at those arms. Push off, doesn't get called for it against Chris Harris, and he might be the best in the NFL when it comes to making contested catches. My question to you is this. How are the Washington Redskins 6-3 with all those injuries?
Injuries being that two offensive guards, starting offensive guards, done for the season. Left tackle not playing. Bill Callahan is a very good football coach, but they got simple, Phil. Number one, what do? You run the football. And Adrian Peterson, the ageless wonder, 33 years old, has been outstanding. The second thing is, don't turn it over. You sit there talking about Alex Smith. They got him from Kansas City. Why? He doesn't turn the football over. Number one in the league in fewest turnovers. And number three, play good red zone defense, hold the field goals, and take the ball away. The best red zone scoring defense in the National Football League. I'll tell you what I'm talking about right here. This offensive line, it is special. Bill Callahan, what's the best way to help a depleted offensive line? Run the football, Phil. And Adrian Peterson, look how young he looks. Look at the speed. Look at the dynamics. Look at his vision. And look at that hole he had. But then the other thing you have right now, you don't have Jamison Crowder. You don't have a good receiving core. But you do have Jordan Reed. And you have a quarterback who's not going to turn it over. He may check the ball down occasionally, but he's going to find Jordan Reed, the end cut coming behind, and they just keep moving the sticks. And you know what? You may have a bend but don't break. Keep him out of the end zone. Don't turn the football. Take the ball away. 13 straight games right now. Washington's had a takeaway, and you know what? They're holding teams out of the end zone, so they got back. Run the ball. Don't turn it over, and let your defense make some plays. That's why they're 6-3.
You know, great points, but why do you got to yell at me the whole time? That's what I'm trying to figure out. You're yelling at me.
No, so who wins this game?
Who wins this game? I'm taking Texans.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a pretty good matchup down in Jacksonville, JB, isn't there?
Hey, you know what? But Phil yells at Boomer all the time. I can't believe he's that sensitive. Hey, a pair of all-pros getting set to square off. Antonio Brown needing just 10 more catches. That's to reach 800 for his career. But Jalen Ramsey, he'll be looking to lock down the Steelers' dynamic receiver. And that's coming up at the top of the hour. The terrible towels, Bill.
Oh, yeah.
Fine when the Red Hot Steelers take the field. The big question for the Jags, will their vaunted Saxonville defense show up today? Steelers Jags, 1 o'clock here on CBS.
Is this a must-win?
The NFL Today is sponsored by WeatherTech, the ultimate American-made vehicle protection. Buffalo Wild Wings. Try our game day menu. And by the all-new 2018 Jeep Wrangler.
Jadeveon Clowney, Jonathan Joseph, and the Texans took part in a Friendsgiving event on Tuesday as they provided a shopping spree and some much-needed holiday cheer to a Houston area family with 5 children whose home was destroyed by a fire earlier this year. Time now for Golden Moments brought to you by McDonald's.
I know I'm super fly.
Man, I learned it.
Now
Touchdown, Kansas City. And the Chiefs best in the league now.
Put another touchdown on the board. The Rams, the high-flying offense.
like I invented smooth. You can't tell me
What a stunning throw from Patrick Mahomes. It is a perfect pass by Jared Goff.
Todd Gurley, the NFL's touchdown leader, does it again.
Hurdles a man. Kareem Hunt driving.
It's just another day in the office. The game of the year coming up in the NFL. That's what this is.
And let's send it over to Jim Rome for his unique, well-written, and always well-articulated take on a pair of marquee matchups.
Thank you, JB. Chiefs v. Rams Monday night, the so-called Super Bowl preview and the most hyped regular season game this year. And as we all know, nothing ever lives up to the hype except this, because no one has been able to stop either one of these offenses, and you know neither one of their defenses will either. And while I don't trust either D to make a play and get off the field, I trust the Rams just a little bit more. Yes, the Chiefs are fierce, and Patrick Mahomes is a catch-up slamming phenom, but we waited 2 decades plus for the NFL to return to LA, and the Rams are back with a vengeance. They have pushed every single chip to the center of the table to win it all and to do so right now. So I'm going to ride with Sean McVay and his crew. The Chiefs can look for revenge in the Super Bowl rematch. And all the credit in the world goes to Bears coach Matt Nagy for cleaning up John Fox's mess and coaching the Bears up as quickly as he has. It is impossible not to like how Mitch Trubisky is handling that offense, and I love Khalil Mack in the defense. The Bears are improved. I am impressed. I'm just not convinced. Yes, they're 6-3, but who have they beaten? No one who matters, no one who's currently over 500, and no one in Minnesota's class. Sure, you could point to the Vikings schedule and try to say the same things about them, but I've seen the Vikings play at a high level before, and I think the Bears are punching out of their weight class in this one. I'm not throwing in with the Bears until I see them win a throwdown like this, JB.
All right, Jim, thank you so much, buddy.
A lot of throwdowns there.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of the Vikings and Bears, they both are currently in the NFC playoff picture, with Chicago leading the North Division and Minnesota holding the wild card. And, of course, the Rams and Saints are the top 2 seeds. On the AFC side, the Chiefs alone at the top. Pittsburgh and idle New England following. The Bengals, Boomer, hold the final wild card. But their matchup with the Ravens today, along with the Titans-Colts matchup, will have an impact on that playoff picture. So, as Jim mentioned, 2 heavyweight matchups in Week 11, the Vikings-Bears tonight, and the highly anticipated Chiefs-Rams showdown on the evening, Nate.
That's right. That Chiefs offense is what we want to watch every single week. When you look at what they're doing, forget about the fact that they lead the NFL in 20-plus yard plays. Forget about the fact that Pat Mahomes is leading the league in yards and also in touchdowns. The most important stat for me is the fact that these guys have scored on every first possession this season. That's so important for a young team that thrives off of momentum and energy. They're going in this game was supposed to be on a neutral site.
Yep.
Now, all of a sudden, it's a Rams home game. So them scoring first and drawing first blood on these guys might be key to getting this victory.
You know, as we heard about the ketchup slamming phenom that is Patrick Mahomes, he is awesome. There's no question about it. There's one guy in this game that is a game wrecker, and all he has to do is come up with one big play late in the game, and that's the great Aaron Donald. He is like Bo Jackson playing nose tackle. I mean, he's 12.5 sacks, and all he has to do, because I do believe that this game is going to be a high-scoring game. I hope it lives up to the hype that Jim was talking about. I think it will, but if he makes one play late in this game, that will win it for the Rams.
Well, you know, I'm going to do this. Jim Rome, I'm going to throw down on the Chicago Bears because I believe in them. Solid offensive line, 2 good running backs. But where they really changed their football team was in free agency last year. They got Taylor Gabriel, Allen Robinson, and the tight end Trey Burton. Just think of these 3 guys catching the football. Over 100 catches, over 1,200 yards, and 11 touchdowns. That's helped Mitchell Trubisky, who can run and throw it down the field and be aggressive. But the one thing it worries you, they're going against Minnesota, one of the best defensive lines in football, and now they got depth on that defensive line, so that's going to make it tough for Chicago's offense.
Remind me of the Philadelphia Eagles a year ago with all the depth they had to rotation, but when you look at that Minnesota offense, you look at Kirk Cousins throwing at 70% completion percentage, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs. You can tell right now this offensive line has done really well. The matchup I'm looking at is right tackle Brian O'Neill, a rookie from Pitt, going against Khalil Mack, because this defense in Chicago complements that offense. They're number 1 in the league in interceptions, number 2 in the league in takeaways. This will be a great game. I think one of the best games of the weekend.
All right, folks, and you'll see the Bears in action this Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, as the NFL on CBS carries on a holiday tradition. The Bears and the Lions kick it off 12:30 Eastern from Detroit or Detroit right here on CBS. And, folks, we will keep the conversation going here, but with kickoff just about a half hour away, time now to set the scene at your game as we take you out first on the field for the latest news and updates on your matchup. And then later, it'll be Von Miller and the Broncos trying to slow down Melvin Gordon and the Chargers, or the Raiders squaring off against Josh Rosen and the Cardinals. That comes your way for Eastern 1 Pacific right here on CBS. All right, Josh Norman. All right, talk to me, Nate.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about these Chargers, right? This Chargers offense is one of those teams I feel like they're constantly being looked over, and a lot of it is the ghost of their past because we don't quite trust them. Melvin Gordon, top 5 in the league. He should be mentioned with Todd Gurley. He plays just as dynamic. And then that offensive receiving core could be the more well-balanced. Of course, Keenan Allen's a true number 1. Tyrell Williams be the biggest paid free agent wide receiver, trust my words, coming this offseason. And, of course, you got Phillip Rivers playing at a high level.
Well, you talk about Phillip Rivers. Phil, I don't know how you feel about this, but I remember towards the end of my career when I was playing with with younger players like Melvin Gordon, I wanted to make the most of that. And they took a lot of the heavy lifting off of my shoulders. And I think that's one of the reasons why we see Philip Rivers maybe having one of his best seasons of the year. I mean, with all the things that are going on with the Chargers now, they could get Joey Bosa back. And if they do get him back, he'll be on somewhat of a pitch count, as Jason said earlier. And I think that is a big, big get for their defense.
Well, you know, look, let me just talk about this. We talk about the Chargers, so many elements I think have gotten better. The one that we don't talk about enough is the offensive line. Bringing over Mike Pouncey from the Miami Dolphins, getting him a franchise center has changed, I think, their whole offensive outlook. And on defense, they got depth at defensive line now. And Bosa come back. Is this going to make it better? They're going to be a tough out.
And Derwin James has been the rookie. It's also made a big impact on that defensive side of the ball. Austin Eckler, a great backup to Melvin Gordon. This is a team that's gone under the radar, JB. I'm telling you, no one's talking about it, but they are a dangerous football team.
You know what? I couldn't even throw you a curveball and throw you off track, Nate. Go ahead, buddy.
I'm ready for any pitch, baby. And there's Josh Norman right there. 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. He's playing against DeAndre Hopkins, who is playing out of this world. Might need a little paranormal activity to stop him. Ooh.
This month, in partnership with USAA, the NFL Salute to Service campaign takes on special significance for many players, including the Cardinals' Larry Fitzgerald.
Just have so much respect for everything the organization and foundation has done for, our men and women who've come back and are in dire need of support. I have a Pat Tillman sticker inside, I have a 9/11 sticker, I have a military appreciation sticker inside. I have multiple family members that have served in the military. I just understand the sacrifices that they've gone through. It's a constant reminder of how grateful I am to be American.
The Steelers' Alejandro Villanueva is a West Point graduate and served in Afghanistan. The opportunity to say thank you to our military and veterans is just one way for USAA to recognize the service and sacrifices of our military and their families, that which they make every day. And running back James Conner is having a breakout season for the Steelers. As a matter of fact, he scored 11 touchdowns through 9 games. Conner is also a cancer survivor, beating Hodgkin's lymphoma back in 2016. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital will never give up in its fight to end childhood cancer. And for 2 high school seniors in Memphis, Tennessee, what began as a service project became a meaningful way for them to connect with their community and an NFL player who also shares their idea of action and giving back.
When you're young, you listen to a lot of older people talk about how much the world's changed, how people get lost in what's in front of them and don't connect anymore. But even if technology separates us in a lot of ways, it also has the power to bring people together.
Hey guys, what's up? What's up?
I mean, how else do you explain 2 high school kids in Tennessee finding a bond with a Green Bay Packer they've never even met? Maybe I should back up and tell you the story from the beginning. My name's Isaac Weiss, and I'm a senior at Lausanne Collegiate School in Memphis. And this is my friend Eric. We're pretty tight. He's like the biggest star in this town. Trust me, someday everybody's gonna know his name. Our school goes kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, which means if you're a senior like me and Eric, you're kind of a hero in this community, especially if you happen to play for the football team.
Have a good day. You
too. Over the last 3 seasons, we're 38-1. And number 1, my buddy Eric Gray, is the biggest reason why. Yeah, he's the team's best player. And actually, if you Google him, you'll find out he's the best all-purpose back in the entire country. Next year, you'll be watching him play D1. Me, I'm the kicker. But because Eric practically lives in the end zone, I don't get to kick a lot of field goals.
He always gets on me like, Eric, you're losing me scholarships because you score so much. Isaac kicked like 4 field goals in our first game. He hasn't kicked a field goal since.
Freshman, sophomore year, he felt like a kicker. He felt like he wasn't part of the team. And over the last couple years, he has really formed these amazing friendships.
Those 2 are something special together. They just, I mean, they have a bond.
They're good kids that if it weren't for football probably wouldn't be this close. And now that they've done this great thing, it's even more special.
Yeah, about that. At the beginning of this season, I decided I was going to make every point worth something. Literally. You see, not too far away from our school is St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. You might have heard of it. It's the top hospital in the country for kids with cancer and a big part of the Memphis community. They run this fundraiser every year, a national competition they call Touchdowns Against Cancer. And I thought, why should it be just touchdowns? What if people donated money for every point I kicked too? When Eric heard about it, he wanted to be a part of it also.
Talking in study hall, I looked over his computer and it was Pledge It, Isaac Kicks Against Cancer. And I was like, hey man, what's that? And he showed me it and I was like, I need to get a part of that. Touchdowns Against Cancer is a good thing to do for pediatric cancer.
And that's when things really took off.
Eric kept saying, now my touchdowns mean something. Every time I score a touchdown, it helps to save a child's life.
It really means something to him. This is just a wonderful thing, and it's just going to lead to other things. It's like, now what can I do? What can I do next?
As prolific as these guys are on the field, they're even better off the field. And, they got together and, they're going to end up raising $20,000 by the end of the year.
I heard every touchdown you guys score, people are setting like a certain dollar amount.
Yeah, trying to do what you're doing for St. Jude.
The dynamic duo.
Yeah.
Of course. Turns out, Blake Martinez is a fan of the work that St. Jude does too. He reached out to us when he heard we were a part of this cause that means so much to him.
One of my friends passed away from cancer when I was in 9th grade.
Yeah.
For me, it was just asking why. Why someone so young with so much potential have something like that happen to him.
And even back then, Blake knew that one day he'd figure out a way to honor his friend. Along with being an NFL player, he's a big gamer. So good that people actually pay to watch him play. So Blake decided to use that platform to make a difference at St. Jude.
Kind of make this Twitch thing something that can be beneficial to St. Jude. It's been really cool.
The Touchdowns Against Cancer program was conceived with the idea that sports can be a power for good. And I think what you guys accomplished this year for St. Jude and the families that are fighting childhood cancer is truly amazing.
Together, we've raised thousands of dollars. And if back-to-back state championships weren't enough, we also took first place in St. Jude's competition. Like I said, we scored a lot. And while it definitely felt good to do something for St. Jude, I don't think I realized just how big a community I was a part of.
You try to make sure you instill the right things in him to be this guy. So for me, it's been pretty awesome. Excuse me.
What these kids have done on and off the field is really special. It's just been a great journey.
It's been a cool thing to be a part of, and I'm definitely proud of all we've done. But really, it's just a small start. There's so much more that can be raised, so much more that can be done. But I think if we can stay connected to each other, and if we can believe in the power of that connection, that might just be the best chance we have to give this story of the fight against cancer the happy ending it needs.
And what young Mr. Weiss said certainly is a bigger statement that would impact all of us when he says, if we can stay connected to each other and believe in the power of that connection, profound words. Special thanks to Ellis Williams and Anthony Cortese for their outstanding work on this story. And we here at CBS Sports are proud to be partnered with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in their fight to end childhood cancer. For more information on St. Jude, go to stjude.org. And if you would like to contribute, go to pledgeit.org and search Lausanne. That's LAUSANNE.
When I first set out to play this game, I didn't want to be just another guy who played in the National Football League. I wanted to be one of the best ever, and I wanted to leave a mark.
Here's Marcus Allen. Cutting back upfield, and Marcus Allen could be gone. 74 yards for Marcus Allen.
When you do something like that, you certainly become a part of the fabric of football. When they mention football or they talk about Super Bowl, my name will forever be a part of that, and that's special. It really is.
And, of course, who could forget Marcus Allen in that special Super Bowl moment? Folks, we are counting down 77 days from now to Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta, where the next great Super Bowl memories will be made right here on CBS. And for those of you who were with us earlier, Jason La Canfora, our NFL Today insider, reported that ESPN was reporting that Secretary of State, former Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice was in fact a candidate for the coaching job. It said as follows: former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice is a great leader, possesses the highest possible character, and also happens to be a Browns fan. Now, this is coming from the Browns. I have the utmost respect and admiration for all she's accomplished and was honored to meet her for the first time earlier this season. Our coaching search will be thorough and deliberate, but we are still in the process of composing the list of candidates, and Secretary Rice has not been discussed. Quite frankly, I think that would be far better. Her skill set lends itself to being more involved in a leadership capacity at the league office. All right, the defending Super Bowl champs find themselves in a must-win situation. Here's Jim with more on that.
Listen, it is nearly impossible to pick against a proud, desperate defending world champion. No, it's not, because the Eagles simply are not the same team that they were a year ago. No need for greasing up light poles or worrying about an Eagles fan slamming horse dung, because they're already out of time. Like everybody else, I wanted another Jason Kelce parade speech, but it's just not happening this year. They couldn't beat a wobbly Dallas team in a must-win game at home, and there is no way that they're going to New Orleans to beat a red-hot Saints team in an even bigger game. Outmanned and outclassed, this is going to end badly for the Eagles. Banged up and hungover from a Super Bowl win is a terrible way to go through life, JB.
All right, Jim, thank you so very much. And as always, we appreciate that insight. Folks, there are a couple of other teams that are in the same must-win situation today, but without question, it's a tough situation ahead for the Eagles.
Yeah, I feel like I want to be on Jim Rome's show. Hey, Jim, first-time caller, long-time listener. I love the show, you know, but there's a lot of things to talk about the Eagles, but I'll just boil it down to one thing. Frank Reich going to the Indianapolis coach, John DeFilippo, the quarterback coach, going to the Minnesota Vikings has really hurt, I think, their offense, and it's made it tougher for them to move the football. And it's hurt the football team.
And the Cowboys at the Atlanta Falcons real quickly. This is about whether or not the Cowboys can score enough points to win this football game, because we know the Falcons, smarting off of their loss last week against Cleveland, should put up big numbers against this Cowboy defense this weekend.
Yeah, Tennessee, for instance, the Indianapolis Colts, you're talking about these two coaches. I mean, these two coaches, their teams represent who they are. There you see Frank Reich on the left. He's got Andrew Luck playing at a career-best level right now. And on the right, you see right there Mike Vrabel. This team reflects him. They're #1 in points allowed on defense. And Marcus Mariota, 4 of his 7 touchdowns have come in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll take you back to Thursday night, that Seahawks win over the Packers. If you're in a must-win situation, you're in a must-go-for-it situation. On the field, that 4th down was 4th and 2, 4 minutes left. Coach McCarthy decides not to go for it, doesn't get the ball back. Seattle wins. It's tough. You have Aaron Rodgers. You got to let him go out there and try to win it for you.
All right, time now for the NFL Today picks presented by FedEx. Upset specials for Week 11.
Yeah, I like the Titans over the Colts today. Marcus Mariota is hot.
I like the Vikings over the Bears and look for Dalvin Cook to be a big part of that Vikings offense.
I like the Chiefs over the Rams. Cooper Kupp going down was a deciding factor for me.
Travis Kelce, huge game Monday night for the Chiefs. I'm taking the ketchup-slamming phenom Patrick Mahomes.
All right, a reminder, go to NFL.com/FedEx. Cast your vote for the FedEx Air and Ground NFL Players of the Week. Don't forget to follow along. See all of our picks at CBSSports.com/FedEx. Kickoff just a few moments away. We'll get you out to your game. When, Nate?
Next.
The NFL Today on CBS Sports is presented by Jeep.
There's my guy dancing right there. Hey, boom, that looks like you. Just a lot thinner, though.
That's a stiff white guy over there.
Hey, listen, and a reminder later on, Von Miller and the Broncos will try to slow down Melvin Gordon in the Chargers, or the Raiders square off against Josh Rosen in the Cardinals. That comes your way at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, right here on CBS.
Can you believe what Boomer just said? But that's only between those guys, right? Hey, folks, time now for another round of Believe or Make Believe. As a matter of fact, I'll ask the question. questions. The guys will chime in. So we begin with number one, which is Derek Carr will be the Raiders quarterback next season. Believe or make believe?
Yes, they've invested too much money in him. They're not going to get rid of him that soon. I know there's been some struggles, but you got to give Gruden some time to work with all the pieces. And plus, they got draft picks coming that could help Derek Carr.
Coach,
I absolutely. I mean, I've seen Derek Carr lead this offense. I think he's still the guy, and I think there's a lot of other issues they have besides the quarterback position.
Are the Raiders going to have the number 1 overall pick in the draft? If that's the case, I say no.
You would be wrong.
Okay.
Because I don't think they will. I think they'll stay with Derek Carr. Just, does John Gruden want to start over with a rookie quarterback when he has a hard time even dealing with a veteran? So I say he stays with the veteran.
He wants to know why you were yelling at. He's yelling at Boomer. All right.
I'm yelling at Boomer because he called me,
Larry Fitzgerald is the greatest player who has not won a Super Bowl. Bill, believe or make believe?
Well, I don't know what the other list of candidates are.
But in that category.
Dan Fouts. I mean, I mean, Philip Rivers. But I would say Larry Fitzgerald, when you think about what he's done, how prolific he has been, and he's such a great ambassador for the game. You talk about a selfless individual who gives back. I would put him in there.
I would say Dan Marino tops my list because he's known as one of the purest passers of all time. But Larry Fitz is one of my peers, been watching him for so long. I would love to see him get a ring.
There's a lot of us that haven't won a Super Bowl. That's all I'm going to say right there. And I feel bad for Larry not winning a Super Bowl with Dan Marino. Too bad. A bunch of us didn't win it either.
It's funny. I saw Dan Marino on TV last night watching his football life and everything. He talked about that. And I just always think of this. Dan Marino and John Elway in today's game, what kind of numbers would they put up?
No question about it.
The person I think about from a coaching perspective right now, Andy Reid. You talk about a guy who's done a lot. But one thing missing from his resume is that. And
Phil is pretty good on the defensive end, Coach. I know you admit it, so let me start with you. Bradley Chubb will win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Believe or make believe? Feel?
Probably right now, these were right off the top of your head. I'm going to say yes. Denzel Ward was playing great there for a while, but he got injured. Bradley Chubb he's living up to being as Nate would say, the Batman in the Robin. He is definitely being the Robin to Von Miller. He's a force.
I'd say Derwin James and Darius Leonard, maybe from the Indianapolis Colts. I know he's leading the league in tackles for an inside linebacker. It's been pretty good, and he's a 3-down player. So I would put up those kind of numbers. And plus their teams, let's see how they play out the rest of the league and see if they go to the playoffs, because I think you have to add that into the mix as well.
Yeah, I agree with you with Derwin James. The players that he has in front of him makes his job easy. Melvin Gordon, and of course, you're looking at Bosa getting back on the field. Like, that's going to be one of those things that helps him out on the defense.
I'm going to tell you, we don't see a lot of the Colts defense. Nobody talks about it because it's all about the Colts offense and Andrew Luck and everything else. Darius Leonard is a tackling machine, and he is one of the younger players on the youngest team in football that is making play. And you said it, Coach, he's a 3-down player. So he may not have the sack numbers, but he's out there making a difference every single game.
Speaking of the youngest player, since he handled my curveball earlier so well, let me end this with Nate first and then you, Boomer. Melvin Gordon, the best running back in the AFC. Believe or make believe?
I'm going to say I believe that. He's one of those guys that constantly gets overlooked. Melvin Gordon is dominating at a high level right now.
Wow, I'll tell you, Kareem Hunt backers would have a problem with that. But I would have to say, when he is healthy, he is about as dynamic as they get.
I absolutely agree. I think Melvin Gordon is underrated when you talk about the top runners on top. I'll bring Gurley into this as well. I mean, you're talking about this guy along with Austin Eckler. What a great 1-2 punch.
Bingo, that's it. Great 1-2 punch. There's no doubt about that.
So bingo means that was good?
Yeah, I like it. For every once in a while we do agree on something, and I agree with Melvin Gordon.
And we were talking AFC, but James Conner?
Oh, yeah. Well,
he's in the mix there?
All right, he would be in the mix, no question.
Wow, you had a lot of time. They didn't cut you short being last this time then on that.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. I'm still upset about the way Boomer picks on me. But I'll get over it. I'm tender. I'm not as tough.
And there is Sean McMahon is standing over there.
There he is.
Got something to weigh in. We'll see you back at 4.
Oh, there's
Nate.
Boomer.
There's your guy right here on CBS.
Yeah. I was Phil at the wedding last night.